It's game number 3 on this young Cape Cod Baseball League season, and we're on the road for the first time. It's an unfamiliar setting for the Falmouth Commodores here at White House Field, but a very familiar foe as the Dores get set to take on the Harwich Mariners for the second time in 3 days. Good evening, everybody. Carter Bainbridge, along with Trey, Redfield, tonight's play-by-play commentator, and Logan, Soforenko, tonight's color commentator, and welcome to Opening the Door. Guys, we jump right into things today. We can't talk about today's matchup without going back to yesterday when the Dores fell hard at home against the Cotuit Kettleers in a 4-0 loss. There wasn't a lot of hitting going on the Commodore side, and that spelled disaster.
That's the reason why they fell hard for the second straight night, Carter. Only 4 hits put up by the Commodores, and 2 of them came from Alex Mooney. Logan, I know you have more on that in a bit, but Mooney was the only guy that got it done. He got the leadoff single and then got one of the 2 hits that came in the bottom of the ninth. It's pretty simple, Carter. Dores got to get it going at the plate.
That's for sure, and today the Commodores will have to contend with a high-powered Harwich lineup, which we'll talk about in a moment. But, Trey, the name that you just mentioned, Alex Mooney, who just came over from Duke University, so far leading the team with a .333 average and has both of the Commodores' extra base hits so far this season. Logan, you've been impressed with his play so far.
Well, it's simple. You forgot to mention one thing. The only extra base hits this season. So he's been getting it done on the offensive end of the field. But when you talk about playing the defense, he made a couple of errors, but he cleaned it up yesterday. Only 1 error by the Commodores last night, so a little bit prettier on that sense. But Alex Mooney specifically has made a couple of nice backhanded plays at short, so he's showing a little bit of consistency there at short. We talk about Maui Ahuna. He's a middle infielder, but he is DHing today. The Dores are very happy to have him back in the lineup. He's batting third today, Carter.
So yesterday, the defense and the pitching were cleaned up for the Commodores. Alex Mooney finished with 2 hits in that game. And Logan, the name you mentioned, Maui Ahuna, making his Commodore debut this summer, returning from last year. He's in the lineup today and hitting third, DHing tonight. But, Trey, they're going to have to combat some serious lumber in the Harwich lineup. We've talked a whole lot about all the hitters they have up and down their order, but they add 2 more tonight, a pair of talented Wake Forest infielders.
It's the 2 Wake Forest Demon Deacons that we talked about on Sunday. It's Danny Corona and Brock Wilkin. These are 2 guys that hit bombs. Last time we talked, Brock Wilkin was actually the 2021 Cape Cod League MVP. We hit on him a lot because he wasn't here on Sunday. Now he is. He's not in the starting lineup. Corona is, though, so we'll be seeing Danny a couple of times tonight for the Mariners. But you said it, the bats are there for Harwich, and it has even more going up against the Dores tonight.
Well, hitting has been hard to come by around the league. The Dores not the only team struggling tonight, but they're going to have to contend with the contributions from both of those guys and then some to come away with their first victory of the season. There's only one Cape team remaining with an 0-2 record so far, and that's the Dores. So, Logan, I have to ask, for the Commodores to come away with a win tonight, what is your key to victory?
Well, not only are we talking about the extra base hits, the Harwich Mariners had 2 home runs on opening day, so they had the ability to capitalize, like I mentioned yesterday, on some Falmouth Commodore crucial errors. So, A, they got to keep it consistent on the infield. But the big thing that we're talking about with the extra base hits is they just got to find good pitches to hit. They got to find the gaps. They don't have to try and crush the ball. They had some interesting deliveries last night as they faced a submarine pitcher, but the offense has to get going, and that's the first thing everybody needs to know about. But they have a right-handed pitcher today from Long Beach State that everybody should be just as excited about. It's Jerron Watts-Brown. And get this, ladies and gentlemen, he tossed a no-hitter against UC Riverside where he had 16 strikeouts and just 1 batter reached that day. So he was 1 batter away from a perfect game in that Big West Conference. This year he had a 4-4 record with a 3.69 ERA, so he's looking to get some stuff going on the pitching end. They're looking for a little more longevity. We saw a great start from Ben Hess yesterday with 3 innings, 5 punchies. He got himself out of a jam, didn't give up any runs. So the pitching, they've been doing their job. Like I said, they got to look for some longevity, but the number one thing people need to know about are the bats. They have to wake up. They have to have more extra base hits, including those gap shots, and hey, let's get some home runs on enemy territory.
So Jerron Watts-Brown making his summer debut against the high-powered Mariners. Trey, what's your key to victory today?
I'm going to keep it very simple, 6 words. See the ball, beat a ball. It really comes down to it. You want to talk about, Logan, how these guys put it into the gaps. They got to keep their eyes on the ball and find ways to put it there. If the Commodores do that against a guy who goes by Billy Seidel for Harwich with a 6.80 ERA, they got to be the ones who get out early, keep their eyes on the ball, and put those balls into the gaps like how you were talking about, Logan.
Well, that's your setup for today's matchup. It's the Falmouth Commodores and the Harwich Mariners getting it on here at White House Field. First pitch is at 6:30 coming up.